Hi, welcome to the presentation. I just want to share with you a little quick synopsis on what a telomere is. And if you want to take a deeper dive on this, just get back with the person that got you here. Again, this is just more of an introduction to help you understand something that's very profound, and that is telomeres. I was introduced to a geneticist in 2009, and Dr. Bill Andrews, and I started learning about telomeres from him. Prior to that, I had never heard of a telomere. I have not stopped talking about telomeres ever since. I've done over 5,000 presentations on this. And I put this presentation together based on what I learned from Bill, because I understood that it was very powerful information that people need to know. So again, this is just an introduction, but the telomere is on the ends of the chromosomes. It's being depicted in red right here. And then the chromosomes sit in the middle of every cell called the nucleus. And our entire human anatomy, everything about us physically is made up of cells, over 100 trillion. Now, what runs those cells? What operates them? It's your DNA, and the DNA is housed in the chromosome. So here we have a chromosome that's being kind of stretched out, and you can see the DNA, these little steps in the ladder, and right where those colors come together, there's a little molecule right in between those two colors. So this very important step in the ladder, your DNA, is like the software that actually runs the cells. It's what gets the cells to operate. So the DNA plays a very critical role. Everything about us and how we function, whether it's positive in a positive optimal way or whether it's in a negative way that's causing some health challenges, it has everything to do with the DNA. And the telomere, what we've learned, is the protector of the DNA. So Bill Andrews would use the example of a plastic tip on a shoestring, how it holds the shoestring together. We're all familiar with that, but when the plastic tip falls off, the shoestring starts to fray. And so I ran down to the hardware store and bought some rope and this red electrical tape to show you an example of a perfect telomere. When we're conceived, there is a perfect chromosome. But in the womb, chemicals are being passed on to the baby, getting circulated in the blood and causing damage to the telomeres before we're even born. We're already deteriorating and degenerating that most important foundation of our health. By the time we're a pre-teenager, we've already lost over a third of our telomere, and we're speeding that up as well. In April 2012, it was on the front page of USA Today. Pre-teenagers, that'd be like 11 and 12 years old, their telomeres are 10 years shorter or degenerated by 10 years, accelerated, before they're even a teenager. And that's going to take a very profound effect on their health and their well-being. So the shorter the telomere gets, as we can see, the red tape, that's the telomere, the more we're exposing those nucleic bonds, and those nucleic bonds separate. That's damaging the DNA. It would be akin to losing software in a computer. That's never a good situation or scenario. So the shorter the telomere gets, the worse we're going to experience with our health on every level, physically, brain, hair, eyes, organs, bones, everything. And pre-teenagers have accelerated that by 10 years. This is all immutable facts. In fact, this was what the Nobel Prize was awarded to what we now understand about telomeres. And because of Bill Andrews' research and his contribution to understanding this very significant role. Now, we all believe that the body can heal itself. And Bill Andrews knew that on a very profound level. He knew that the telomere should be healing itself, but it's not. It's just getting worse and worse at an accelerated rate. And when you reach a certain level in the shortening of the telomere, it's called senescence. That means death of the cell. In a computer, when we lose enough software, we call it the computer crashed. You can't even turn the computer on because there's not enough software to even run it. And that's the same thing with us on a cellular level. I'm not talking about computers, we're talking about cells now. So the telomeres are shortening at different rates for different reasons throughout the entire body. There are different things that we know accelerate that. Cigarette smoking. Cigarettes don't cause cancer. They shorten your telomeres faster in your lung and throat area. You shorten those telomeres in that area, now you're going to have issues like COPD, lung cancer, emphysema. So it's a chain reaction. The cigarettes don't cause cancer. They shorten your telomeres faster, which then damages inadvertently the DNA, or I would say directly. It's directly related to the cigarettes, but it's a domino effect. When you lose the DNA, now the cells are malfunctioning. And so now when it becomes a macro problem, you're going to be labeled with something and you're going to have a health challenge. Every symptom of aging and every one of the degenerative diseases are linked to that. And there's so many chemicals out there that are causing the different things prematurely, like MS, Parkinson's, lupus, thyroid disease, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, pulmonary issues, skin issues, everything from needing a knee replacement to varicose veins to cracking skin on the bottom of your feet to eyesight and the more profound health challenges that we can be faced with. So Bill actually identified what the problem is. Why is the chromosome not healing itself? There's a gene in every chromosome that produces this enzyme. He identified it on a molecular level in 1994. By 1997, they had invented the procedures, and working with human skin cells, they activated that enzyme. Long story short, they helped the human skin cells in a petri dish to repair the damage that was done to the telomere and the DNA. That was the first time they learned that that was even a possibility. Thank you, Bill Andrews, for your commitment and your belief. One of the very, very few researchers in the world that are even doing this with telomeres. They're the only lab in the world that can do what they do, and they're doing it exclusively. So they did that by 1997. And then Harvard piggybacked off of Bill's research, and Dr. Ronald DeFino did it with mice. And then they saw what happened with a living, breathing mammal like you and me with the mice when their telomeres were repaired. They literally saw mice that were aged in disease reverse those symptoms. They got younger and they got healthier. Their cardiovascular system, they became more active. They had Alzheimer's. These mice literally had Alzheimer's, and it reversed by repairing the core foundation, which is the DNA, the software. And then they went back after Harvard did that and interviewed Bill because they realized his research with the human skin cells and what they did to activate telomerase, which is what Harvard did with the mice, was really based off of Bill's research and what he contributed. This is myself and Bill here. He made a little video with me, and that's like almost 9 years ago now. I am significantly younger today because of the advancements that we have in supporting telomeres. And there'll be another follow-up little short introduction video that you can watch to see how that collaboration happened and how we now have the number one, absolutely the number one holistic approach to supporting telomeres, which is everything for you as a human being and your entire human anatomy. We're talking about every cell. Today I am younger. I experience life on a level that I never had before. Even when I was 16, in my 50s, I'm healthier in every way. Endurance, cardiovascular, mental clarity, because of how I'm supporting my health now holistically. But again, that's another segment that we'll do. I want to keep these short. I just want to go into a couple other things here. Bill actually endorsed me in this video because I was mentored by him. And I put the information together, and he said, Dave, that's the best presentation I've ever seen to make something really complicated easy for everybody to understand. And he actually put it in a Facebook comment on a post that was made about a presentation I did. And he said, Dave MacArthur knows more about telomeres than most telomere scientists that call themselves telomere biologists. So it was a great honor to be able to work with Bill, learn from him. I still work with Bill, and we presented together. But this little video that we did really helped me to get the information out there as far as credibility. So what we've come to accept is these symptoms of aging and disease, but they're really not normal. They're really not natural. I just want to end up with this so you kind of get the vision and the importance of this. This is not normal. This is not natural. And this is because of the decreasing length of the telomere, right? What we just went over. That's why these results showed up. But how can I prove that this isn't normal? Well, because pre-teenagers are now getting the degenerative issues that you used to get when you were 60, 70, 80 years old. It's now happening to pre-teenagers because of the accelerated telomere shortening. And I'll just share with you the number one factor that I believe and the correlations that I've made is it's the processed food. The chemicals that are in processed foods that are put there purposefully, we've now discovered, oops, they shorten the telomeres faster. And they're not going to do anything about that, you guys. They're going to continue to make processed food, but at least now you know, and you also know that there's now a holistic approach that you can learn from the next video, little introduction on what that is and how it came about. But yeah, these pre-teenagers, because their telomeres are shortening faster, the Surgeon General, not only are they going to have issues with their health, which babies have type 2 diabetes right out of the womb, pre-teenagers have osteoporosis, and their lifespan is shorter now. That's your lifespan is really the length of your telomere. When it reaches senescence, you're going to die. So if they're getting to senescence faster, their lifespan is going to be shorter. And that is what the Surgeon General has said. It's the first generation of children that won't live as long as their parents. This is more along the lines of nature, maintaining optimal health, just like we see in plant life. I tell people the grass in my front yard looks the same as it did, when I moved in almost 15 years ago. It just maintains health because it has the innate ability to do that. So do we. I would say the Hutus in the Himalayas are closer to this as human beings. They live consistently to be 120, 125. They don't see the degenerative issues. And this is really an accelerated degenerative process, which we're seeing here in North America. Some of you may have been have met some people that have come from other cultures. They come here and they start eating the food, and they recognize very quickly the decline in their health. Well, it's because they're shortening their telomeres faster, the domino effect. So if you're on an increased or accelerated telomere shortening program, and then you get onto one where you can holistically start to support the body to create healthy telomeres, what would happen? Well, you would see a reversal, the body's innate ability to fix the problems. And now we know that on a very profound level, thanks to Bill Andrews, thanks to Harvard doing it with the mice, and now the Nobel Prize being given to telomeres and the role that they play, and now also to the #1 holistic approach to supporting telomeres. So get back with the person that got you here. They can share with you that next segment. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you. I absolutely believe this is the most important conversation that we can be having. Our health is everything. It's our #1 asset. And when our health is optimal, so is our lives. So thank you, and get back with the person that got you here.